Welcome to Jamaica Magazine. I'm Adrian Atkinson. We have an interesting show lined up just for you, as we'll be getting all the facts on the Bureau of Standards Jamaica and more. You don't want to miss a minute, so stay tuned as the magazine unfolds.
Hey there. So, did you know that plastic bags were introduced to supermarkets in 1977? The production of plastic bags are toxic to the environment, as the process involves the use of petroleum, natural gas, and other chemicals. 160,000 plastic bags are used globally every second, and 5 trillion are produced yearly. Side by side, they can encircle the world 7 times. Plastic degrades after 700 years and will only fully degrade in 1,000. This means that all the plastic that has ever been produced has not degraded. It remains toxic even after it breaks down. 13 million metric tons of plastic end up in the ocean every year, and at least 800 species worldwide are affected by marine debris, of which 80% is plastic and is mistaken for food by turtles, fish, and other marine life. Research has shown that fish caught for human consumption contain plastic nanoparticles. An average family will use 60 plastic bags on 4 visits to the supermarket, and only 1 to 3% are recycled worldwide. Play your part in advancing your welfare and that of the earth. Support the ban on plastic. Reduce, reuse, recycle, and get eco-friendly bags for you and your 1877.
The Bureau of Standards Jamaica is a statutory body established by the Standards Act of 1969. It promotes and encourages standardization in relation to commodities, processes, and practices. Here to tell us more about these roles and functions, as well as some of the work being done by the agency, is the Executive Director.
Welcome to Get the Facts, the program that provides you with information on government's policies and initiatives. I'm your host, Enthros Campbell. On the program today, we are looking at the standardization of products and services, as well as processes and practices. The agency tasked with this responsibility is the Bureau of Standards Jamaica, the BSJ. On set with me is Executive Director Hopeton Heron. Sir, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Ms. Calvo.
So good to have you.
I'm glad to be here.
All right, so the BSJ is celebrating 50 years.
Indeed.
Yes, we're going to be talking about that a little later. But before, tell me about your functions, your role and functions have changed a little bit. Tell us about that.
Indeed. In the beginning, there was the Jamaica Bureau of Standards. Over the years, the Bureau has changed to conform to global trends, which tries to establish a national quality infrastructure. So our accreditation body came out and it became JANAC. Then our certification body came out and it became the National Certification Body of Jamaica. Then recent times, to 2016, the National Regulatory and Compliance Body, the NCRA, was formed. So those 4 organizations now form the National Quality Infrastructure. It conforms to the National Quality Policy that was tabled in the House 2 months ago.
Yes. So then what then is the BSJ doing?
Okay, so the BSJ is left with standardization. So it deals with standardization, metrology, and conformity assessments. Meaning conformity assessments, meaning testing, calibration, and we do training. So we prepare industry players to have standard products that are good for local and international markets. So when the world looks at Jamaica, they see that it has a national quality infrastructure, it has accreditation, it has certification, the regulatory arm is well up and running. We have standardization, we have metrology, and we have testing.
All right, so talk to me about your role in standardization, because I know that you don't go on and test and so on anymore, do you? Well, we'll come to that. Tell me about your role in standardization.
Well, for standardization, you want to develop products that are going to be used by the market. So the request for standardization comes from the users of products. We also look at internationally to see what products are going. And for products where their standards have been developed, you really adopt those standards if it can conform to Jamaican conditions. If it cannot conform to Jamaican conditions, we adapt it, meaning we put some Jamaican application codes into it so that it works. And for products that are just Jamaican, we develop the standards. So for standard development, we try to get a very wide-based stakeholder representation. So we form what is called a technical committee, which has on it technical persons, the common man, academia, and all the other science and technology and business representative on that technical committee. And they deliberate and come up with a standard, which is outlined. The format for the standard is outlined. Once the standard is developed, it goes out as a draft for consultation. And we, again, listen to our stakeholders to refine it. When it gets back to some final stage, then it goes for the approval process, which goes to the Standards Council, the ministry, get gazetted, and then it becomes a standard that you can get from our Technical Information Center, the TIC.
Right. So we no longer come to you if we encounter like some blocks that are not doing what they're supposed to do, or ketchup that is too runny. We don't come to you about those issues anymore.
You can come to us, but the agency that is set up to deal with these things is the Compliance and Regulatory Agency. This is a National Compliance and Regulatory Authority, actually. They are set up. They are still on the property. They have a different address, but they are still on the property of it was actually removing the regulatory division of the BSJ into that division, right?
So this company now, or branch, or agency, authority does all the regulatory work.
All the regulatory and compliance work. So they will do the sampling from the shelf. They will take it in for testing. They will get the results from our labs, and they will take the regulatory action that is necessary. So, you
know, Jamaica still thinks that you go out and do all this testing.
Indeed. Yes. So we are trying to get that message out, that in fact the regulatory and compliance arm is now quite different from the Bureau of Standards, because we now focus on standard development, we focus on training, we focus on testing and compliance, and we have a client services program where we invite entrepreneurs, manufacturers, exporters to come into our doors. If you are developing a product and you want some chemical tests done, some microbiological tests done, some weights and measures tests done, some mass tests done, you can get that kind of service through our client service program. And if you need to use a standard, we can guide you into the appropriate standard that is good for your product development. So that when you have completed your product, your product is good for local trade, your product is good for international trade, and you won't have much problem in getting into markets, because it would have conformed to World Trade Organization rules, it would have conformed to ISO rules, ASTM rules, that's a standard body that is internationally recognized. And so we are well intertwined with all of these organizations. We converse regularly to keep abreast with standard development globally.
Good. So let's talk some more about the ISO, as you mentioned just now, when we come back. But we're going to take a break now, and we come right back with more discussions.
We want a productive Jamaica. We are not productive Jamaicans. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity is the way to go for all us Jamaicans. Small business, big business, old and young, we are tell every woman and man. We want growth and prosperity for a better nation with a building plan. So we can build our product and sell our product and put more money in our hand. Our economy can rise to a level and build a better nation. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity, to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity.
Productivity, Pathway to Prosperity. A message brought to you by the Jamaica Productivity Center, a department of the Ministry of Labor and Social Security.
Welcome back to Get the Facts. We continue our discussion with Executive Director Houghton Heron. He's from the Bureau of Standards Jamaica, the BSJ. Now, before the break, we were talking about ISO, International Standards Organization. What is the relationship between yourself and ISO?
Well, ISO is an international standards organization. They have member countries all across the world. They develop standards. That's their role. They develop standards. And they make these standards available to member states and, of course, whoever requires these standards. Right. Now, what the BSJ has done, we have used these standards to make offerings of training in the particular standards developed by ISO. Right. So it's our portal, but we use the ISO standards for training.
Tell me a little bit more about the training that BSJ does.
We do a lot of training in food safety, in good manufacturing practice, in quality assurance, in calibration of service industries, and sanitation and pest control. So those kind of training can be got from the Bureau. We have established our Quality Institute, is what we call our training platform, where people can enter our facilities and get training.
How does one access the training, and who can access the training?
Anybody from industry can, and you can come into our offices. You could send through our website, through our social media, in whatever way you access the Bureau, we could direct you to the training. Right?
Talk to us now about your support to businesses as it relates to product development.
Yes, we have established this client services window that if you are developing a product and you need to understand what are the components in it, you can approach the Bureau to do chemical testing for you, microbiological testing for you. You can get familiar with the labeling standards, the packaging standards, or the weights and measures to ensure that when you put a particular weight on your product, it is actually the weight, because we can facilitate you to verify that. So we use our laboratories to facilitate that kind of product development.
So as it relates to labeling, would you like teach people or show people or train people as it relates to how to label the products?
Indeed. And the information, the minimum information and the maximum, more minimum information that needs to be on the labels. And this is to meet a standard. In other words, the standard declares what are the minimum standards for labeling.
Yes, because sometimes we go to supermarkets and we see some products, you can't really label them in different languages. And that's something you used to do, but you no longer do that, right?
Well, what would happen is if the product does not meet the standard as outlined in the standard, the regulator, which is now the NCRA, is obliged to remove such a product. But they will talk to this more than I can. They are the regulators. Yes. But that system is in place.
Right. And what about pharmaceutical and aviation and so on? Yes.
Similar.
All right. Okay, great. The BSJ is celebrating 50 years of service to Jamaica. Tell me about some of your milestones.
Yeah. Okay, the BSJ started out as the Jamaica Bureau of Standards. Over the 50 years, we have really evolved into 4 organizations. And this 4 organization conforms to what the WTO recognized as a national quality infrastructure. So whereas we used to do everything, now we have an accreditation body that is independent, does its own thing. We have a certification body that trains institutions and organizations quality. And then there is a National Compliance and Regulatory Authority, which is a regulatory arm that used to be the the regulatory division of the Jamaica Bureau of Standards. Now the BSJ has been left with the development of standards, the Metrology Institute, which is the conformity assessments, which is the labs for testing, chemical testing, microbiological testing, weights, mass, volume.
Yes. Does that make you more efficient?
Indeed, because what has happened is that the services, the corporate services, is still shared by all the entities, maybe except JANAC. They all share common finance, HR, communication, and IT services, so that overhead for housing the Jamaica Bureau of Standards would still be there. And we are now focusing on the specialized areas. So that is very good efficiency.
So you're not, say, a parent company?
No, not at all.
They are
their own entity.
So what are you doing to celebrate this 50 years of service?
Well, quite a number of things. On the 15th of July, we launched our 50th anniversary activities, and there are a number of things planned for the 50th, but I want to focus you on initiative we are taking. We are launching internship programs for 5 students representing 5 decades, right? These interns will come into our business and will be assigned to Science and Technology Division, the Standards Division, the Metrology Division, and will learn the ways of the Bureau, because it is a very specialized area, and the more we can build capacity in Jamaica, the better off we will be. So that is one aspect of the 50.
Yes. And these are tertiary level students.
Tertiary level students who will be interned.
And the information is already out?
The information is out. It will be repeated. It will be communicated, and I'm sure a very fair way of choosing these students will be established. So 5 students are going to be able to do internship at the BSJ, and we'll hear more about that. So BSJ used to be, in my eyes, a consumer-oriented entity. Where do we fall in all of this now? We are, I wouldn't want to say more so, because it would mean that maybe we were not. We are just as much consumer-oriented as we are, because we are ensuring that the consumer gets the best product, the best standard. In other words, we are setting the standards, and we are setting the quality criteria that the products that goes out will meet the customer's needs. So we remain very customer-focused. We listen to our customers. Our customers are on our technical committees that writes the standards so that they benefit from any quality we put in.
Congratulations on your 50th year.
Thank you very much.
Best wishes for another 50.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Good. This has been Get the Facts with our guest, Hopeton Heron, Executive Director of the Bureau of Standards, Jamaica. To watch this program again, log on to our social media handle, YouTube/watch GIS, and stay connected via our website at gis.gov.jm. Until next time, I am Enthros Campbell. Take good care.
Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it. Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it.
No dash, no paper, no dash, no plastic. Dispose your garbage responsibly. No know how to recycle, learn it quick. And if you drop it, better pick up every piece of it. Plastics last forever, don't forget the bits. Cause when them touch the street, them end up in the sea. Collect pan the reef where they fish them feed. And when you want seafood, I eat your
Keep
eat.
the island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it. No dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica.
They've been innovating and implementing smart street lighting technology. They have gotten their products tested and certified by the Bureau of Standards Jamaica. Let's learn more about Solid Power Jamaica.
Solid Power Jamaica is an energy company which was founded in 2010. About 2015, we embarked on a new concept where we want to actually look at waste energy, a solution for Jamaica in particular. So we conceptualize using existing street lights to convert into waste for our street lighting. And we successfully done that, and we entered the National Innovation Competition in 2016, where we won the category in energy and energy efficiency for our street light. The street light was tested by the Bureau of Standard and was certified to be sold on the Jamaican market. The government is actually embarking on a streetlight program, where the problem at the moment is that at that time was that sometimes streetlights are on or off, and you don't really know unless you go on the location to do that, to check. So we embarked on a smart lighting technology where we thought we could actually embed that into our recycled streetlight, and we successfully installed the smart lighting in our recycled light, and we are now able to control those lights remotely using our smart solar controller. So for example, we could stay anywhere in the world and turn these lights on via internet. So all of our smart solar street lights are now solar driven. So we install solar in either as a standalone unit or as another concept that we're actually promoting, which we call power wheeling concept, where you install solar at certain points across the country, inject that solar into the grid, and you actually power our existing lighting using that grid power. We also have our standalone units. If, for example, you have a new stretch of light in a rural community or along the Highway 2000, it can all be powered from solar using our recycled street light and smart solar system. Our smart system can manage up to 200 lights on any one network. So we realize that having that sort of system allows us to have total control over our street lighting. Bamboo is quite versatile, and since 2018 we have also embarked on using bamboo to make lighting equipment. So we managed to make a desk light, LED desk light out of bamboo. That was successful. We actually sent that to the Bureau of Standard. They have actually tested that, and that's supposed to be with us in short order. We also looked at what we call the Jamaican sweet home lamp, and we also managed to conceptualize that into a light. And as you can see over there, it's a beautiful light, and we also have that light as a rechargeable light. So we're using phone batteries and a phone charger to charge that light. The way in which the world is moving right now is about innovation. You think about something and you have a go at it. And if you look around you, there are challenges. Our thing was really predicated on the challenge that we had here with our existing lighting. Very, very inefficient. And we thought of looking at how we could make that more efficient. So if one wants to go into any business opportunity as it relates to innovation, I believe if you look around, you can see problems, and then there's a solution to that problem. And that's what we believe innovation is all about. Fixing existing problem, right? And come up with good solution where you can make an impact economically.
The following is brought to you by MOCA, the major organized crime and anti-corruption agency with kind support of NIA and USAID.
Criminal minds think they are cunning. The major organized crime and anti-corruption agency have them running. Your friend a shout, come scam. Take time running, are we ready for the ops? Drive up on your block, step out now the block, cyber take a boy your laptop. Pull up every lock, no evidence a drop. We put it in a cuffs and now we have the underground. Sin you say scam, you better look out for. When you move corrupt, better look out for. They say you get wet, look out for. Look out for, look out for. From you say scam, you better look out for. When you move corrupt, better look out for. They say you get wet, look out for. Look out for, look out for.
The proceeding was brought to you by MOCA, the major organized crime and anti-corruption agency with the kind support of NIA and USAID.
MOCA, MOCA.
Oftentimes, it takes years for an individual or company to build a reputation in their respective industries, and just 5 minutes, 2 even, is all it takes for that to be ruined. Think about things before you say or do them, because the repercussions of your actions are not always the best outcome. Let us all work together in attaining our goals. Unity is strength, and that is what we need to make Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business.
Speeding through life and the traffic lights till somebody get hurt and the tears start cry. Save a life for the kids, for you and I, save kids' lives. Make the road safe whether day or night, for pedestrians, passengers, cars and bikes. Save a life for the kids, for you and I, save kids' lives.
Hey man, it's our job to keep the road them safe. Have to take care of the youth them so we know them safe. And obey the road code, don't race. No bother with the speeding, cause make face. And check your light them at your tires and brakes. Riders and the pillions who left the helmet. I put on the cell phone, no send no text. No matter what color they on your plate.
When you're on the road, take your time. When you're on the road, bear this in mind. When you're on the road, you can save a life. When you're on the road, when you're on the road, I beg you please be safe. Wear your seatbelt for keep you safe, and make sure your helmet's in place when you're on the road.
Hey, follow me. Well, everybody drive good and walk good. Then teach the youth them how to cross good. I beg you obey the road signs, park good. And put the young ones in a car seats, all good. And everybody drive good and walk good. And we say young and old, I beg you cross good. Remember the dark close at night, that is not good. From you I use up the sidewalk, it's all good.
When you're on the road, take your time. When you're on the road, bear this in mind. When you're on the road, you can save a life. When you're on the road, when you're on the road, I beg you please be safe. Wear your seatbelt to keep you safe, and make sure your helmet's in place. When you're on the road, when you're on the road, when you're on the road.
Thanks for watching another edition of Jamaica Magazine. Do join us again tomorrow, and we'll do this all over again. Send your feedback on today's show to jamaicamagazine@gis.gov.jm. Also, follow us on our social media pages, Instagram, Facebook, and of course, there's Twitter. Download our app on your Apple and Android devices. You can also visit our website, gis.gov.jm, for more information. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.